Hearing loss, dizziness, headaches, confusion, and neurological issues. All of these symptoms were experienced by a number of U.S. Embassy staff in Cuba, and it was never determined why. Havana Syndrome, a phenomenon first reported in 2016 by staff at the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba, remains an enigma shrouded in uncertainty. This cluster of unexplained symptoms has perplexed investigators, officials, and medical professionals alike. Despite extensive research and investigations, the definitive cause of Havana Syndrome remains elusive. Let's explore the baffling history of Havana Syndrome, examine the investigative steps taken to identify the cause, if any, and ultimately present the current state of understanding around this intriguing mystery. In late 2016, reports surfaced of U.S. Embassy personnel experiencing a range of puzzling symptoms in Havana, Cuba. These symptoms included hearing loss, dizziness, headaches, cognitive difficulties, and a variety of other neurological issues. The affected individuals claimed to have experienced sudden episodes of these ailments, often in specific locations, while others reported hearing strange noises. Numerous investigations were launched to uncover the cause of these coordinated symptoms. Early hypotheses included acoustic attacks, viral infections, and exposure to toxins. Initial findings indicated that some individuals experienced brain injuries consistent with concussions, despite no apparent traumatic event having occurred. However, the specific source of these injuries remained unknown. As Havana Syndrome gained attention, governments and news outlets started to take notice. The United States government withdrew non-essential personnel from its embassy in Havana, expelled Cuban diplomats, and issued travel warnings. Similar incidents started to be reported in other countries too, raising concerns about a potential global health threat. After the incident was made public, the Cuban foreign minister accused the U.S. of lying about the incident and denied Cuban involvement in or knowledge of the cause of the health problems the diplomats experienced. Government officials and medical experts offered various theories to explain the cause. Some suggested sonic or microwave attacks, while others believed it could be related to a new form of psychological or neurological warfare. In 2020, a National Academy of Sciences report indicated that directed pulses of radio frequency energy could be a plausible explanation, but the evidence was ultimately inconclusive. But the symptoms of Havana Syndrome continued, even spreading to other locations, like we mentioned. Starting in early 2018, U.S. diplomats in China began experiencing symptoms consistent with Havana Syndrome. The first such incident was reported by an American diplomat in China in April 2018 at the Guangzhou consulate, the largest U.S. consulate in China. The employee reported that he had been experiencing symptoms since late 2017. Several individuals were taken to the U.S. for medical examination. In August 2021, it was reported that 2 American diplomats were evacuated from the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi, Vietnam, after incidents of Havana Syndrome were reported. Also, in 2021, dozens of U.S. personnel stationed in Vienna, including diplomats, intelligence officials, and some children of U.S. employees, had Havana Syndrome-like symptoms. Despite years of extensive investigation, the cause, at least publicly, of Havana Syndrome remains uncertain. In January of 2022, the Central Intelligence Agency published a temporary evaluation, concluding that Havana Syndrome was not the outcome of an ongoing global campaign by a hostile power. After reviewing 1,000 cases, foreign involvement was ruled out on 976 instances. Following this, in February 2022, an expert panel assembled by the Biden administration released a summarized statement dismissing stress or psychosomatic reactions as explanations for some of the Havana Syndrome incidents they had reviewed. The panel suggested that radio waves could have been responsible for certain injuries sustained by CIA officers and diplomats. Simultaneously, the State Department commissioned the JSON Advisory Group to investigate the cause of the syndrome further. In February 2022, the JSON report was released by the State Department, again stating that it was unlikely for directed energy attacks to be the cause of the health incidents. So, at least at a high level, there was no threat. At least, that's what is said. In conclusion, the Havana Syndrome remains a compelling mystery with, at the end of the day, no real definitive answers other than glossy statements made by the CIA and the executive branch. The US government seems to be set on this not being an attack by a foreign power, but they might just be saying this to avoid sounding weak. The unexplained symptoms explained by embassy staff in Havana, Cuba, have baffled investigators and raised concerns worldwide and continue to do so. While there are indications that directed energy or other unconventional means might be involved, the exact cause and source of Havana Syndrome remains elusive.